Hey guys, what's up? This is 8-Bit Eric. Today I'm going to share my top 10 hardest NES games of all time. Now, of course, top 10s are subject to opinion. If you disagree or agree, comment below with whatever your top 10 is. I'd be interested to read it. Now, let's begin. 10. When I was a kid, I was all about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Michelangelo, Raphael, Donatello, Leonardo. Hell, I don't even think I liked pizza before I found out what the Ninja Turtles were. When I found out that there was an NES game, I was excited. Of course, I was confused as to why they were all red on the cover, but I found out years later that this was based on the comic book, which explains a lot because this game has the most weird assortment of enemies and locations and obstacles and all sorts of weird nonsense that are nothing like the lovable cartoon ragamuffin Ninja Turtles. Teenage Ninja Turtles on the NES brought many rage quit memories of myself. From the Damn level that just has that infamous reputation of being notorious for pulling a game over on many TMNT fans back in the day, to the hard, insane jumps that have spikes and instant deaths, to Raphael having a horrible weapon. Basically, Donatello was the only turtle worth a shit in this game, so you had to save him. If you used him too much and he died, you were fucked until you had to play all over after the game over. Now, the maps and layouts of this game could be a little bit overwhelming. As a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, I was lost. Having to make your way through all the overworld maps in order to find the right locations, the right sewer, the right building to obtain the way to get to the next area was difficult. As a 4-year-old, as a 5-year-old, hell, many kids probably got easily lost. Once I got to the area where you had to use the missiles to explode the barricades, I would be shit out of luck. Sure enough, eventually throughout the years I made my way to at least the Technodrome. But getting there itself is a bitch because you have to go through caves and it's randomized. It's never in the same place twice. And then not to mention, the Technodrome could be a pretty big bitch to beat. And I've beaten pretty big bitches. Just ask Jay's mom. Over 20 years later, and this game's difficulty still has a hold on me. Will I ever beat Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Who knows? It's still fun to try though, but for the difficulty, it remains at number 10 in my top 10 hardest NES games of all time. 9. Coming in at number 9, Metal Gear. Oh shit, 8-Bit Eric is gonna talk shit about Hideo Kojima. Keep in mind, Hideo Kojima of the 2000s was not the same Hideo Kojima of the 80s, alright? Metal Gear on the MSX, masterpiece. But that wasn't the game that I grew up on, and it's not on the NES. Metal Gear with the Kyle Reese on the cover on the NES. Bane of many kids' existence, including mine. This game was just cryptic. You get your way lost going anywhere in this game. If you didn't have the right items, it was instant death. Booby traps everywhere. Enemies everywhere. This is one of the earliest games where kids had to comprehend, do not fight anybody. Do not get seen. The best way to make it through this game is to be stealthy. Once you figured out that you could transport through cars, get different weapons, and you just played this game so many times that you remembered the quickest route to go, it eventually becomes easier. But regardless of all the experience that you eventually get playing this game over and over and over, there is no denying that Metal Gear is one of the most cryptic, challenging NES games of all time. It's a masterpiece. This is old school NES, beat it in one play, no fucking passwords, no saves. If you die, you start over at the beginning. For real. The way it used to be, before games held people's hands. 8. Number 8, the Blue Bomber, Capcom's mascot, Mega Man. Yes, Mega Man 1 to be exact, because, out of all the Mega Man games I've ever played throughout the years, beaten, Mega Man 1 is one of them that I have not. It's, as a matter of fact, the earliest memory I have of Mega Man was playing at one of my friend's house, and I couldn't even beat the first stage. I think it took me at least a good chunk of my childhood existence to figure out that once you beat bosses, you can use those weapons to your advantage. The idea of using certain weapons to make the game easier, to get through obstacles of levels, to use against other enemies in order to beat the game faster, was new to me. I don't remember playing anything like that. Sure, the more you play, the easier it gets. A lot of trial and error, just like a lot of these games, but there's no denying that a lot of the spike deaths, pitfall deaths, and the knockback of getting hit caused. But there's no denying that this game did not have a lot of bullshit difficulty. Falling into a pit, certain death. Falling on the spikes, certain death. Lots of challenging level obstacles like those disappearing fucking blocks that you have to time and jump across the whole entire stage. My god. Anytime to this day that I see those in any type of platforming game, I always curse Mega Man because I saw it nowhere else until Mega Man 1. And this game holds true to its reputation as one of the most challenging games of all time. And, you know, it set a standard for the Mega Man series. But, you know, it wouldn't be Mega Man if it wasn't fun and challenging. Am I right?
7.
Coming up at number 7, Batman Return of the fucking Joker. Yes, this was a pretty much different type of Batman game compared to the classic NES one that in itself was pretty challenging, but holy fuck, this game made you have to take your steroids. And the core concept of the gameplay was a lot like Mega Man. Now, Sunsoft brought it. This game was completely different. Lots of shitty jumps, knockback, one of the most notorious things of getting hit. And a lot of these early NES games, such as Ninja Gaiden, Castlevania, and Return of the Joker. This game literally will grab you by the balls, shove them up your butt, so far down that it goes through your throat, and you look like you're having nuts on your chin from your mouth. So it's like a puppet, a ball puppet. But yeah, there's all sorts of power-ups that Batman can use. He has a fucking gun. Like, how crazy could shit be in a Batman game if he needs a fucking gun in order to complete the levels? The graphics of this game are fucking some of the best in the NES. The soundtrack, fucking fantastic. But the difficulty, I will put that right up there against Mega Man or Ninja Gaiden. As a matter of fact, this game was so hard to rank in my top 10 just because these levels are unforgiving. Seriously. You could pray to God all you want that you'll beat this game. It's going to take a lot of patience. And 8-Bit Air don't got none.
6.
Number 6, Street Fighter 2010. Now, don't let the name fool you. This isn't going to be Hadouken style stuff up in this son of a bitch. As a matter of fact, I was a little let down when I found out that this wasn't the same as Street Fighter 2. I shouldn't have had many expectations going from an awesome 16-bit game back to the NES. But as a kid, we were dumb. And I feel dumb to this day playing this game because, you know, I can't get very far. Now, the core concept of this game is every level you are playing as Ken going after a target in the stage. And it's a unique platforming game in the fact that you have a certain amount of time to kill the target in the stage, to find the target, make your way to a portal that opens up after you have the target that could be anywhere in the stage. And yeah, so now all sorts of obstacles in these stages. You have to use wall jumps, backflips, you gotta climb, there's even cool like 3D effects where when you climb one wall you can go around it. Lots of weaponry. It's very unique. It's Capcom-y, but it's pretty fucking tough. Like, for real. I don't have much experience with this game because I suck at it.
5.
Coming up next, number 5, The Adventures of Bayou Billy. I've always liked the title screen, but that's pretty much it as far as what I like of this game. Now, I had my hopes up when I first saw this. I thought, holy shit, this looks like Double Dragon, because it does. It looks like a beat-em-up style game that takes place with a Crocodile Dundee looking hero. Unfortunately, the difficulty is not really even in this game. Even if there's just one enemy on the screen, it takes tons of hits to take care of them. And then when you get bombarded by 2 or more, you're done, Nate. You're done. Now, every once in a while, you'll find rocks to use as weapons to throw. You even got cool jump kicks and all sorts of different types of attacks. But I'm not good at it, and especially when it comes to the alligator parts. The alligators could go fuck themselves. Now, this game had potential. It had everything that kids could have wanted at the time. Some freaking crocodile wrestling, beat 'em up action, saving a hot chick. The girl in the game's pretty hot, but she's hot enough to where, you know, you're going to cut your arm and leg off trying to get her. I mean, when it comes to saving girls, Mario don't got shit on Bayou Billy. I would easily rank The Adventures of Bayou Billy as one of the hardest beat-em-ups of all time on the NES. If you're a glutton for punishment and you're looking to have a bad time, go ahead and check out Adventures of Bayou Billy. It won't disappoint you. Well, it will, but you'll enjoy it. If that makes sense.
4,
Coming up next, it's time for Ninja Gaiden. Ha! Yes, Ninja Gaiden. One of my most favorite games of all time and one of the most hardest games of all time. Everybody and their mother knows how notorious Ninja Gaiden is. Now, this game set the standard of difficulty for future installments, not only in the NES, but in future Ninja Gaiden games, because holy fuck, did Ninja Gaiden deliver on being the most difficult, challenging, platforming ninja game of all time on the NES. This is up there, and it's beautiful. It's fun to play to this day. Sure, there's countless enemies that easily respawn in the same place. You can literally kill a bird for 5 minutes over and over and over and over again because it just respawns instantly. Now, there's tons of power-ups that can help you. As a matter of fact, there's a nice little power-up cheat where if you have the little spin jump thing, it kills most bosses like nothing. I mean, look at this. So yeah, if you keep the same power-up, which that's pretty difficult because there's sometimes where you're going to hit an item hoping that you get something else, some extra points or extra life, and you end up getting something shitty. But if you keep the same weapon, the game is somewhat of a breeze. Now, that is if you make the jumps in the platforming sections of this game with no problem. Because towards the end, especially in the 6th level, some of these areas get pretty bad. The knockback from the enemies will have you throwing your controller through the wall. And of course, if you lose to the final boss, you start all the way back over at the beginning of World 6. It's true. It's brutal. Many kids have shed many tears because of that.
3,
Coming up, number 3, Ghosts and Goblins. Another arcade Capcom classic. Ghosts and Goblins is no joke. It's not for the weak either. And of course, it's one of the most spookiest and scariest difficult games of all time. You play as Sir Arthur, who's trying to rescue his fair maiden from the devil himself. Sounds fun enough, right? I don't know if she's worth it. Maybe, you know, I guess that pussy might be pretty good, you know, if he's, you know, because, whatever. Now, you get hit twice, that's it. First hit, get your armor off. Second hit, you're dead. You're dead. You're fucking dead. Now, you have an array of weapons at your disposal. People like to use the dagger. I think sometimes the flame, the little fire thing, works if you spam it right. Now, another game where knockback and hard jumps increase the difficulty to a T. And not only that, but if you beat the game, it makes you start over and beat it a second time to get the real ending. What the fuck? What kind of game is that? A game devised by Satan. Satan! Satan! Is Ghosts and Goblins a game or a test of fucking patience? What the hell? For you Marvel aficionados, Silver Surfer comes in at number 2. Yes, the bald-headed, silver-clad surfer who's naked. That's weird. Yeah, this game is a shoot-'em-up style game, but anything you touch kills you. Now, sure, that's commonplace in the NES era, but I mean, there's no armor, there's no shield, there's no health power-ups. You're fucked. If something touches you, you die. And yeah, so there's tons of fire-up power-ups, tons of weapons, tons of options to move your firepower to behind you or whatever. And it's nice. It's neat. It had the potential. Graphics are there, but the enemies, holy cow, moving around in the most random fucking patterns. The difficulty of the stages is that you're not able to distinguish what you can fly through or what you can't. And when you find out, it's too late because you get knocked off. Over and over and over. This is a game that guarantees that you will die. Silver Surfer don't fuck around. He doesn't. Last but not least, number 1. Let's do this.
1,
Battletoads. Okay, how obviously cliche of my top 10 hardest NES difficult games can I be? But when it comes to level design, no game has shit on Battletoads. This game, almost every level, has some kind of new obstacle that does not repeat in any other stage. And that prepares you for anything to happen in the game. From the notorious Turbo Tunnel, which is a bitch and almost impossible to get through, to the surf style stage, to the snake stage where you have to hop on snakes, to just all the fucking stages in this game. Death traps everywhere. A game where a health bar means absolutely jack shit. Because if you touch anything that's spiky or you fall down any hole, you're done. Fuck. Common mistake with all these games. But there's just some that resonates with Battletoads. You know, you think of that era of gaming where cartoon characters like the Turtles and the Battletoads were it. So this game was marketed towards children. But it was the most nightmarish difficulty of all time. What the hell were they thinking with this? Why did Trade West insist on making Battletoads such a hard game? But you know, I think that is what has separated it from the pack. I think that difficulty is what made Battletoads what it is. Because if Battletoads was just your average game, it probably would have gotten lost in the fold. So being known as the most difficult NES game of all time by many, myself included, kind of sets a little bit of notoriety for the game and establishes it with a reputation when a library of countless NES games you see back there could have easily gotten lost. I like that. I'm sticking with that. And well guys, that's been it for my hardest NES games of all time. What's yours? Post it down below. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Love you. Peace out. See you next week.